You're going to be shocked when you see how many foods have added sugar that are landing in your grocery cart. Stick around because I'm going to share with you the top 10 surprising, sneaky sugars hiding in your cart. Surprise that we eat things like candies and cookies and soda. Those foods are loaded with plenty of sugar. However, there's many common foods that have this hidden or sneaky sugar that I want to share with you today. And did you realize, by the way, before we get started, that the estimates are that the average American is going to be consuming 150 pounds of sugar a year? That's crazy. We know that, of course, high sugar intake is related to the development of diabetes and weight, but it also triggers high cholesterol. So that's important if we're looking into that. Let's start with breakfast and let's talk about yogurt. So if you're consuming dairy and enjoy yogurt in the morning, let's see where some hidden sugar can be hiding out. Now, one thing I want to mention regarding these sugar grams is on the labels as they currently are, they do not list added sugar grams. The sugar on the label is simply all lumped together. So what that means is if there's sugar from the milk, naturally occurring lactose, for instance, or sugar from fruit, fructose, it's all added together. But what we can do is we can compare sugar grams between two products and really easily determine then the amount of added sugar. So in this case, I'm going to do it with yogurt. So unsweetened plain Greek yogurt, some will say, Lisa, it tastes horrible, we need some sugar in it. I'll give you a pointer in a minute. But if we look at the facts, it has 4g or 4 grams of added sugar. So that equates to about 1 teaspoon of sugar. So every 4g, 4 grams, is equivalent to about 1 teaspoon of sugar. We look at the sweetened variety of the same yogurt, this is a mango flavored, it jumps up to 16 grams, or the equivalent of roughly 4 teaspoons of sugar. So we can make the assumption then that we have just increased our sugar intake by 3 teaspoons going to the sweetened variety from the unsweetened variety. So what is one to do? One trick you can do is taking your yogurt and the night before put some frozen fruit on it, and when that fruit melts, it'll naturally sweeten up your yogurt. You can also use non-glycemic sweeteners like stevia to add a touch of sweetness to your yogurt. Moving on. Oatmeal. Oatmeal for breakfast. Everyone's heard about oatmeal and how great this is for your morning routine. Well, it's depending on your case, it might be too many carbs for you. It's also a grain, so for those that eating grains, oatmeal is out as it's a grain. But let's look at a real kind of common oatmeal that I see many clients consuming. First of all, they're doing instant oatmeal, which converts really quickly in your bloodstream and gives you a blood sugar surge. That aside, let's look at the added sugar. Regular oatmeal has no added sugar. If we look at the label, we see it says 0 grams of sugar is added for this one package. We move along to a sweetened version, honey. Ding, 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 ding. When we hear honey, we can think that means added sugar. So one packet of the honey nut oatmeal here has 3 teaspoons of sugar. So we just increased 3 teaspoons. Now let's do a little math here. 3 teaspoons for my yogurt that was added. I'm going to go with the total of 4 in this yogurt, plus the 3 teaspoons of added sugar in my oatmeal. So I have 7 teaspoons of sugar if I had oatmeal and yogurt in the morning. The average American is recommended, for women, it's recommended to not do more than 6 teaspoons of sugar. For men, not more than 9 teaspoons of sugar. Now, the average woman is not getting in 6 teaspoons of sugar. They're getting in 18 teaspoons of sugar, and you already have 7 right here. So let's move along. Lunch, something as benign and conclude into our food plan like meat. Meat should not have added sugar. But this happens to be a honey ham, and for every 2 ounces, which is located here, 2 ounces, is 1 teaspoon of sugar. So we're getting that sugar added in, even in things like innocuous as meat. Salad dressings are notorious for having added sugar. And we always hear about balsamic vinaigrette being healthy for us. And indeed, traditional aged balsamic vinegar can be healthy for us. It's aged usually for up to 12 years, and it doesn't have a concoction of food colorings and additives and other ingredients that commercial salad dressings have. So when we're looking at salad dressing, one thing you can do in the store is simply read the label. So if I'm looking at this balsamic vinaigrette dressing, it's a sweet balsamic dressing, and I go to the back, the label says 10 G or 10 grams of sugar. I go to this label, read it, it tells me it has 5 grams of sugar. So this dressing for a mere 2 tablespoons. Who's using 2 tablespoons? I don't know about you, I don't use 2 tablespoons, but let's just go with the facts. 2 tablespoons is 2.5 teaspoons of sugar compared to, 2 tablespoons of this variety is about 1 teaspoon, so a little more than 1 teaspoon. So again, just reading the labels, you could knock down your sugar substantially. But now let's imagine you're using this quite heavily. You could all of a sudden be turning your salad into a sugary treat. It might have more sugar in it than many desserts, depending on the salad dressing you're using. Moving along, I have a lot of clients who ask me about granola bars, power bars, for example, come up a lot. And power bars or various granola bars, one thing we want to look at no matter what you're looking at when you're looking at these snack products is we want to make sure we're getting a good amount of fiber in them. So at least 3 or more grams of fiber. And then you're also going to be looking at the sugar on the labels. And the lower the sugar, the better. If you could find one with 4 or 5 grams of added sugar, that'd be great. But let's look at this power bar, for example. And I'm going to read the label. And it tells me that there's 45 grams of carbohydrate. That's the equivalent of 3 slices of bread. So I don't know about you, but after I work out, I don't need to eat 3 slices of bread. I just wasted my workout then. Moving along, I'm looking at the sugar grams on the label here, and it's telling me 25 grams of sugar is in here. Do you realize that's the equivalent of nearly 6 teaspoons of sugar? So how is this going to be helping me when I'm trying to release weight, reduce my cholesterol, reduce my blood sugars, if all I'm doing is taking in a lot of added sugar? Another bars out there, for example, Cliff bars, maybe a better quality product, how it's made. However, depending on your needs, you want to be aware of what you're taking in. And this one has 23 grams of sugar. Now, if you're the guy who's climbing the rocks, like this guy in the package here, and you have really strenuous workouts, and you're a marathon runner, or you're doing more rigorous outdoor activities, these kinds of things, those individuals can handle more. They're more metabolically active and they're burning them. But this is not something you need after your 30-minute walk or 30-minute, trot on the elliptical. Moving along, dried fruit is another one that trips people up. It's a source of sneaky sugar. So I hear all the time, oh, I've had some raisins. And this isn't even the chocolate or the yogurt covered raisins. Dried fruit is concentrated fruit, which means that carbohydrate in it is concentrated. And it's very hard often in many markets to find dried fruit that doesn't also have sugar added to it. So for this mere 1/4 cup of dried fruit, on average, you're looking at about 5 teaspoons of sugar added to it. So you see how this is just adding up throughout the day. So if you're, for example, including dried fruit in a breakfast routine, maybe the oatmeal, or you're adding a lot of dried fruit to a trail mix, it could make you all of a sudden be adding in a lot of sneaky sugars. Another surprising food with added sugar is pasta sauce. And would you believe for a 1/2 cup of pasta sauce, you can get more sugar in pasta sauce than you can with many cookies, for example. So in this particular one here, it has the equivalent of nearly 3 teaspoons per 1/2 cup of pasta sauce. I know, that's crazy. Who would have thought? And who uses 1/2 cup? If you thought that first group of sugar shockers was disturbing, you're not going to believe what I'm going to show you next. Barbecue sauce. OMG, WTF, and in this case, it's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. Holy Toledo, do you know how much sugar is in barbecue sauce these days? Now, I'm not grouping them all together. I know there are some companies doing some better products, but holy smokes, you need to go look and see how much sugar is in barbecue sauce. Even as much as I know about nutrition, I was floored when I was looking at some of these labels. This label, oh my gosh. You know, the first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup, and it goes on with some other ingredients and some other forms of sugar in here, but it breaks down that every 2 tablespoons has 16 grams of sugar, the equivalent to 4 teaspoons in 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna say that again. Every 2 tablespoons of the barbecue sauce has 4 teaspoons of sugar. And who the heck uses 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce? So there is an area where that can add up really quickly. And then the last area I wanted to touch on was beverages, because sweetened beverages are primarily the #1 source of added sugar in many Americans' food plan. And you know, there's over 600,000 products in a grocery store, and 80% of them are spiked with sugar. Now, again, the point of this video is to kind of show you where to look and how to navigate that. And let's look at some of these sweetened beverages. So for dairy alternatives, almond milk is a fantastic choice. And I want you just to be aware that there can be sweetened and unsweetened versions that make a difference in your food plan. So when we go to a sweetened almond milk, there can be the equivalent in each 8-ounce serving or each cup serving to nearly 4 teaspoons of sugar. So again, that can add up quite quickly. If you're doing a smoothie in the morning and maybe you're putting 2 cups of almond milk that happens to be a sweetened almond milk in your smoothie in the morning, that could be 8 teaspoons of sugar. So what do you want to look for? You want to look for the unsweetened version. Look at the label and it'll tell you unsweetened, and that has no sugar grams, no sugars added. So you go from 4 teaspoons to 0, a great harm reduction. The other area that folks get a little confused on is with tea. And so yes, brewed teas are very healthy. There's a lot of wonderful health benefits to having tea, but that's unsweetened tea. So we're talking about the benefits of green or black or white tea, whatever it may be. We're talking about the unsweetened varieties. So when we have a sweet tea, again, ding, 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 you hear the word sweet, you generally know there's some sugar added to it, but would you know how much sugar is in this bottle of sweet tea? Well, 1 can of regular soda has on average 10 teaspoons of sugar, and this bottle here is right in the ballpark. It has 42 grams, so roughly the equivalent, a little more than 10 teaspoons of added sugar in your sweet tea. What do? Same thing as with the almond milk. You look for the unsweetened version, which has no sugar grams added to it. No sugar is added to this product. And if you need to dial up your sweetness, maybe you're going to use stevia or some other non-glycemic sweeteners. Even if you added a touch of sugar to it, you're going to add much less than the 10 teaspoons of sugar. Gave you a ton of information, and I don't expect you to remember every detail, and you're thinking, what did you say about that, or how many grams were in that, or there's lots of information here. So I made it easy for you. I created a special report with all of this information, all the facts and figures in there for you, available for you to download if you head right on over to yourtastylife.com. On the bottom of the homepage, you're gonna see an area where you can get this special report directly to your inbox.